Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Gone Rogue. And in this episode of Gone Rogue, I am going to talk about how the future is not written. That is right. In this episode of Gone Rogue, I am going to talk about how the future is not written. So, welcome to another episode of Gone Rogue, where I talk about all of random things that is in my thoughts. That's why we go rogue on this series here. But let's talk about the new year. And since it's the new year, we tend to think about the future, what will happen in the future. And sometimes in our heads or in our vision, for example, we tend to predict things. We tend to make assumptions of things that we might see in the future. Let's just say for example, you witness a future in a dream, and that dream is the future, and most of the time it's a bad dream, and that bad dream is what makes you hold back in reality of not doing something in the future. And there's this one movie that I made this topic that made this, what we're talking about today is Back to the Future. On New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, I was watching all of Back to the Future, the original, Part 2 and Part 3, and there's a message that resonates, especially in Part 3, and that's what makes me talk about on this episode of Gone Rogue, is how the future is not written. And if you haven't seen it already, it's one of an iconic movies of all time. One of a kind of iconic movies that people should go and watch. And that subliminal message that was in Part 3, and spoiler alert, this one girlfriend, the girlfriend of the protagonist, receives a note that he got fired in 2045, for example. I'm not sure what exactly the year is, but I'm sure it's 2015, but that movie was made in the 80s and 90s. So the movie takes place in 2015, where the actual movie was released in 1980, and setting. So they went from 1955 to 1985 to 2015, and this girlfriend receives a note that says you're fired. And once the protagonist fixes everything, the continuum or whatever it's called, the written, the typed out "you're fired" erases. And the doc, the girlfriend asked why it's being erased, and the doc said, the future is not written. You gotta make the best of it. So that is the message of Back to the Future. But going back to what I'm saying for this episode of Gone Rogue, that movie resonated with me, and if we see something bad, if we have a vision that we have that type of feeling in our minds or heart, if we expect something bad to happen, don't just sit back and let it happen. And like the doc said in Back to the Future, we gotta make the best of it. The future is not written. So to start off 2023, that is gonna be the theme for my personal goal, is that the future is not written. Don't let any bad vision or bad signs or bad emotions. I'm not a religious person, but you know what I mean. Set you back thinking that's the future. And you gotta make the best of what you have right now. That is right, you gotta make the best of what you have right now, because you never know what could really happen. Especially what happened before the pandemic, where everything was going fine, and all of a sudden changes, disruptions or distractions in life get in the way. So you gotta make the best of it, because you never know what you would expect. And I know that I've already discussed this in the previous episode of Gone Rogue, where I talked about it's all about trying to fight your fate. If you believe this one certain thing will happen in the bad way, you have to fight fight your fate. You cannot let it settle in your mind, because if you settle that in your mind, it 100% gonna come true. The late great Kobe Bryant once said, if you feel like you're going to fail, you're gonna fail. And that's the Mamba mentality right there. One should have that Mamba mentality that you have to fight your fate. You have to push yourselves and do all things that you can do of not making that bad vision, bad sign into a reality. And yeah, so that's all I want to share for this episode. That's all I want to share for this episode of Gone Rogue to start off the first month of January 2023. Hopefully this year will be a great year. Hopefully what I said helps you a lot. And I really highly recommend watching Back to the Future. Watch all three films and get the message. Don't let anything subliminal get in the way of achieving what you want to achieve in life. And yeah, so made something to talk about just from watching the movie. Hopefully we have that more of it in 2023 and beyond. So yeah, so that's about it for this episode of Gone Rogue. If you like this video, please give this video a super huge thumbs up. Comment in the comment section below on what you think about what I said. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you get my other YouTube content that is on this channel. And thank you for watching Gone Rogue. And I'll definitely see you on the next one.